Hey everyone, he knows nothing but he will talk on camera anyway. He's back with a second installment of the Gimme 10 on Synthpop that no one really seemed to be interested in the first place. But I'm going to make a second one because I can and I don't care. Which is, if we made videos just to please other people in the community, well, we'd only see Beatles or Rolling Stones videos or audiophile comparisons. Anyway, digressing. I'm going to show you 10 non-UK synth-pop records that you should hear. They're really great, all of them. Starting with this Japanese classic, New Romantic by Yukihiro Takahashi, who was one of the three heads of the Yellow Magic Orchestra. So, we have someone here who is very capable of making high octane, really well crafted electronic music. This is the kind of Japan meets Depeche Mode kind of school of synth pop, very cleverly called New Romantic, the New Romantic movement. But I think this is somewhat more interesting than a New Romantic record. When I think of New Romantic, I think of Spandau Ballet and bands like that, Flock of Seagulls maybe, which nothing wrong with them, but this is a tier higher. This is full of amazing, just cerebral, really, as I said, well crafted, lush, super well produced songs. My favorite one being Drip Dry Eyes, which is the second song on side B, which has got this kind of OMD feel as well. This is a sublime record from start to finish. It's kind of melancholic and introspective in parts and lush. I think that works well with this adjective. The next record is a US record, Sparks, with Number One in Heaven, produced by Giorgio Moroder, 1979. Ron and Russell Mel, both from California, kind of zany, start with this kind of glam rock, quite, off-kilter glam rock, Kimono in My House, Propaganda, Indiscreet, which are all kind of classics in their own right. They're not records that I go back to very often. I tend to be more partial to this, which is sort of futuristic and again zany and anthemic, kind of off the wall synth pop. Tryouts for the Human Race and La Dolce Vita and Beat the Clock being like some real anthems, really. So check this out. I really love this Sparks record. And then another US record that I would put in this list, in fact I am putting it in this list, is the second Suicide record, the Alan Vega Martin Rev Suicide, which is miles away from their debut, which is bleak and really morose. I mean, Frankie Teardrop is got to be one of the most depressing tracks ever written. And this is produced by Rico Kasich, which from the Cars, which gives it a sheen that you would normally find on a minimal wave record like this one, because it's more like a minimal wave record than a synth pop record, if I'm going to be honest. However, it still fits in that box for me because it's got the pop elements that is really sort of obvious in there. Diamonds, Fur Coat, Champagne, Sweethearts, Harlem, Dance, really fabulous record. Highly recommend this, from 1980, produced by Rico Kasich. Killer record. And I'm doing a minimal synth and minimal wave Gimme 10 soon, so stay tuned. Another US record that I'd like to spotlight here is Willpowers, Dancing for Mental Health. Willpowers is the project from Lynn Goldsmith. She is still alive, a photographer from Detroit, and in 1983 embarked on this kind of wild project, which is basically her singing and mostly doing spoken words on basically a synth instrumentation. Very catchy tunes. It's poking fun at all these self-help books that you could, you know, buy everywhere. You know, how to be a better person, how to be successful in life, etc. In fact, the very first song, "Adventures in Success," is exactly that. It's just a piss take on you know how to be a better person, and speaks this into a vocoder, so a voice sounds like she's a man, obviously, and on tracks like Dancing for Mental Health, which is the title track, she stages a conversation between two lovers who are in a dysfunctional relationship, and the solution offered to them is to dance so that their mental health improves, which is just, it's a brilliant idea, really. And Kissing with Confidence was the single from this. This has got contributions from Todd Rundgren, Sting, Carly Simon, Steve Winwood, amongst other people. It's on Island Records. It's an absolute gem of the times. Lynn Goldsmith was the photographer for many a rock star in the 70s, and notably she documented a lot of Springsteen in the 70s, and lots of the album covers from Springsteen are Lynn Goldsmith. And another little bit of, you know, tidbit on this is that the video for Adventures in Success was the first ever computer generated video. I think it cost a lot of money to make. 1983. So very cool. Mixed by Todd Rundgren. Yeah, just love this record, and you can get this for cheap, and it's an amazing piece of work. Check it out. Next, a French record, one of my all-time favorites. So Gainsbourg is my favorite artist. Obviously, I've said this on my channel many times, but Love on the Beat is one of my favorite Gainsbourg records. 1984, Gainsbourg had done a couple of reggae records in Jamaica, Aux Armes, etc., and Mauvaise Nouvelle des Étoiles, both of which are quite interesting in their own right, and then decided to take a left turn, and he thought that the next best thing to do was to go to New York and, you know, bring this dirty New York synth funk kind of sound to France. It wasn't wrong though, because New York in the early 80s is, and I still believe this to be true, is the crossroads of some of my all-time favorite music. So, you know, not a bad move, and he produced this album, which is, I love this record, but I mean, again, I'm French and I understand the lyrics and I get into it, but the title track, Love on the Beat, is basically really filthy, kind of pornographic, you know, if you understand it. He was clearly obsessed with sex. Sorry Angel, beautiful song. I'm the Boy. One of my favorite songs there is I'm the Boy. They're just really well crafted again, really, and tinged with a sense of melancholy as well, because you could see that he was very unhappy in his own personal life. This is a great French synthpop record. Jacno, Elie Medeiros et Jacno. She is a Uruguayan singer who migrated to France very early on, and speaks absolute perfect French, and became kind of an icon in the 1980s with a string of hits. They were in a band called the Stinky Toys, really seminal French punk band from the late 70s. And Jacno, we see here, made also some really interesting sort of like minimal synth records under his own name. This is the hallmarks of really kind of sort of experimental meets French chanson kind of like mashup. The opener, Main de la Main, and then I think most of the first side is very, very strong, very high quality. The second side, the quality drops a little bit, but this is just basically the work of, she sings and he just plays synth, guitar, piano, organ, bass, does the backing vocal. So it's a real sort of like lo-fi kind of, but it was big in France. It made it to a level of, notoriety, I guess. Um, Here is a fabulous, fabulous German record, Propaganda, with Secret Wish. Propaganda, a band from Düsseldorf, and they formed, yes, in the late 70s, early 80s, and they are Michael Mertens, Susanne Freitag, Claudia Brücken, and Ralf Dorper. Um, this album is very hard to classify. The opener, Dream Within a Dream, yes, is a real sophisti-pop kind of number. It's got sax all the way. It's very Sade-like in some ways. And then when you start getting into that sort of sound, then they obviously go into different directions as well. It becomes a more sort of typical, synth pop record, as you would expect one to be, but one that is vastly under the radar, I think, and cheap, can be had for next to nothing. Beautiful record, 1985, Propaganda from Düsseldorf. Another German album here, but this one is probably less well known, and I've got it on CD. It's Saada Bonaire here. Saada Bonaire. As it says on the little hype sticker, formed in Bremen by DJ Ralf van Richthofen, 1982. It's a studio band. So it's got the twin vocals of these two chicks, Claudia Hosfeld and Stefanie Lange. And they got together with some dudes that they met at the migration center. It's a fusion of synthpop, Eastern instrumentation, like Turkish kind of flavor, and dub. It's all mashed up together. 1982, and they got together to do a single called "You Could Be More As You Are," which is an absolute banger of a tune. And it was produced by Dennis Bavel in Kraftwerk studio, in the Kling Klang studios in Düsseldorf. And it's just one of these obscure hits from the 1980s. Like you would, I think a lot of people would actually enjoy this Saada Bonaire. Yeah, and they made a second album, but this is really, it's quite unique in its sort of blending of things. Next is a Swiss album, Yello, Stella, from 1985, Dieter Meier and Boris Blank. It's very difficult to box this as synthpop. It's a lot of things. It's kind of avant-garde as well in its own way. When you listen to Oh Yeah, everybody knows Oh Yeah. What is this? Is this synthpop? Is this Zolo? Is this minimal synth? What the fuck is it? In any case, I really love this album. The opener, Desire, with its beautiful guitar actually on this, and Vicious Game with its female vocals, Angel No, the last track. Just a really stunning collection of off-kilter pop tunes. Just really, really great. Take a listen. And I'm going to finish off with a pair of Swedish records. Here they are, which I've got both on CD. The Knife. I don't know if you've never heard of The Knife before. They're a Swedish band, and they specialize in modern kind of electronic pop, you would say. And this is Silent Shout. They're 2000 and I want to say 2008, or they're about 2000 and I don't know. I can't remember. I bought this when it came out. I think it was about 2008. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Album, which is very stark in, like, you know, there's nothing really to look at there. It's kind of like a circle, like a purple kind of circle. And it kind of reflects the music. It has this really, you know, almost depressed kind of atmosphere. Um, and the knife is fronted by Fever Ray. I can't remember a real name, Karen something or something. You can look that up too. And this is an album that I like, even I think in some ways even better than its parent record. This one came out in 2000 and maybe this was 2009. This must be about 2008 or something. This is, you know, make no mistake, this is a masterpiece. They're both masterpieces, but I think this record here just gets me going. If I Had a Heart, When I Grow Up, Triangle Walks, I'm Not Done, really amazingly clever. Modern electropop, you know, from someone who is not unlike, you know, the people that she inspired. I reckon someone like FKA Twigs took something from Fever Ray. You know, there's something in that sound. I just love those records. Anyway, I don't need to talk about them too much. You can look them up and listen to them yourself. And then spend less time watching my crap. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment and talk to me. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, I'll talk to you in the next video that you enjoyed. Take care, everyone.